My name is Pam, and welcome to Pam's Cooking Corner. So if you're serious about cooking and you want to get some good cooking tools, let's chat. There are certain things you need to have, and one of them is a good knife. Now, I recommend a Santoku knife because it's got a good weight. It cuts everything you need from meat to vegetables. Some people prefer a chef's knife. As you can see, it's much longer and bigger and heavier. And for some, it can be quite unwieldy, especially if you're just starting out. If you look at them side by side, you can see how much longer the chef's knife is. Next, I think you probably want to have in your arsenal a good cutting board. Now, cutting boards come in colors now. They're all color coordinated. I have a green one for vegetables, and I also have a brown one for meat. Now, I mean, this is for people who cook a lot and you know, cook a lot of different things. But for most cases, one cutting board will do you. Pick one, stick with it. Just make sure you clean it well and sanitize it using a little bit of bleach and water. Cold water, not hot. For those of you out there who think you're doing something when you pour in bleach into your dishwater, your hot dishwater, you're actually killing the sanitizing portion of the bleach. All you're getting is bleach smell, so it's not really doing its job. Bleach needs to be in cold water in order to do its job. So again, wash using hot soapy water, rinse, put them in a little bit of cold water and bleach, or you can spray it in a spray bottle and let it air dry. Next, let's talk pots and pans. Some people like to go out and buy coordinated sets of pots, and that is totally fine and up to you. But I find that there are certain pots that you use over and over again, and you use them for different reasons. And one thing that I'm always talking about is make sure you have the right pot for the right food. So the things that I think are important to have in your arsenal as you're building your collection of kitchen tools. Have a non-stick skillet. That's always handy. They make them much better now. If you're gonna get one, don't get a cheap one. Get one so that it will last, and the Teflon or whatever they use on the bottom of these things these days doesn't come off. That also involves you using wooden or plastic utensils on those pots so you don't scratch it and end up with that stuff in your food, which, you know, can kill you. The next thing I suggest, and you know, these are all suggestions if you just keep it in the back of your mind when you're out and you're just like, oh yeah, Pam said to get this or to look for that. So the next thing is a cast iron pan. I love cast iron pans because they keep their heat and they cook food evenly. Now there's a little maintenance work with them. You have to oil them and keep them. Don't put soap in. It's kind of but it's worth it because it'll make sure your food will cook evenly. And fried foods, if you fry, cook evenly, and it holds the temperature at the right it holds the oil at the right temperature, which is extremely important for frying. I also think that heavy bottom pots are the best way to go. So like this pot I got, it's doing like double and triple duty because it came with a steamer and a strainer for pasta. And as I was saying before, the heavy bottom, see the bottom on this? You can see how the sides, that's a heavy bottom. This will make sure that your food cooks evenly. The pan, that means that the pot is sturdy, it won't dent, it won't burn your foods because it has those little, like some of those cheaper aluminum pans and pots, they dent and they don't heat evenly, so you get those hot spots and then it burns your food. So that's my advice on pots. Heavy bottom pot, try to invest in a cast iron skillet and a non-stick skillet with the appropriate tools. Wooden, plastic for non-stick. You can use metal on the other pans. Next, I'd like to talk about some of the temperatures when cooking. One thing I'd like to impress upon you is when you're getting ready to cook some food, whether you've cut up some vegetables, some onions and bell peppers, and you're getting ready to saute, which means little oil, high heat. That's what saute means. Don't jack the heat up all to be damned. You don't need to let it evenly heat up, and make sure that the pan is hot before you put in those vegetables. Otherwise, they're just sitting in the oil and absorbing the oil. Okay, so here's a couple of tips that might help you try to remember what temperature things need to be. So if it walks, 155 degrees. If it flies, 165. And if it swims, 145. If it talks, then you have a whole nother problem. So don't worry about that part. But those three temperatures will serve you well. 165 is kind of a base if you're not concerned about your meat being medium rare and stuff like that. But if you're worried about the safety, you can't go wrong, 165. Also, there's something called the danger zone, which is a temperature that you don't want your food to sit in, because if it does, it can be a breeding ground for a disease, for pathogens to grow, and bacteria, and it can make you sick, get a foodborne illness that way. So keep it out of those temperatures. If it's going to be cold, keep it below 40 degrees. If it's supposed to be hot, keep it over 135. Okay? Let's see what else. Oh, storage of stuff in the fridge. Okay, I have a little chart, which I guess is going to be backwards, but you'll be able to see the order anyway. So, top shelf, always keep your ready-to-eat food, salads, deli meats, things like that. The next shelf should be seafood. Below that, whole cuts of beef and pork, that whole cuts, roast, stuff like that. And then below that, all ground meats, lamb, all the ground meats. And then on the bottom shelf, always keep your poultry, chicken, turkey, all of that stuff always on the bottom. It's no discussion, it's no what ifs. If you can get dangerously sick if you have this chicken sitting above other things and it leaks down onto the other food. I think that kind of does it for me today. Have a great day. Thanks for visiting Pam's Kitchen Corner.